Okay, on section 8.4, we are using the point slope formula, and this is on the formula sheet. It's y minus y sub 1 is equal to the slope times x minus x sub 1. And as I mentioned, we know that m is the slope. My pen's not working right. Okay, we know that m is the slope, and we're going to use y sub 1 and x sub 1 for our point. So when we have a point, x and y, we're going to plug those into here. So in order to use the point slope formula, we have to have a point and a slope. So it tells us in the name we've got point and slope. And so as long as you have the point and the slope, you can plug it into this formula. And so we're going to look at a few of these. And the directions on these are pretty similar. So I wrote the directions on this one, and the next few I'll just have the points listed there. Okay, so find the equation in slope-intercept form of the line with the given slope that passes through the point with the given coordinates. So the part in parentheses where it says in slope-intercept form, that's not the form that we're going to start with on most of these. We're going to use the point slope formula. And so as we can tell here, we've been given the slope. Oh, my pen is not working. We've been given the slope and a point. So we'll go back to the point slope formula. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. And we're just going to substitute these values into this equation. So I have y minus 5, because this is my y sub 1 is equal to the slope, which is negative 2, and then x minus 3. And then we're just going to simplify this equation. So I get a negative 2x plus 6 when I distribute. And since our final equation needs to be in slope-intercept form, we need to make sure that we are solving this for y. So then I'm going to add 5. And y equals negative 2x plus 11. And this is slope-intercept form. So you're going to start with point-slope form, and you're going to end in slope-intercept form. Here's another one, and we're just doing the same thing. Has the same directions, and this time our slope is negative 5, and the point is negative 2, negative 4. So again, we're going to start with point-slope formula. And we're just going to substitute the values in that we've been given. So y minus a negative 4, and our slope is negative 5, and x minus a negative 2. So when you have y minus a negative 4, that's actually y plus 4. Negative 5 times x plus 2. Distribute the negative 5 through. And negative 5x minus 10. Subtract 4. So y is a negative 5x minus 14. Okay, again, we'll stop. We have our equation in slope-intercept form. We'll try another one. This time our slope is 3/5, and the ordered pair is negative 1, 2. We're still using the same equation. or formula. We've got y minus 2 is equal to 3/5 x minus a negative 1. When it's minus a negative, it's going to be plus. I will distribute. So 3/5 x times 1 is 3/5. And then we're going to add 2. And you can probably do this on your calculator, but I'm going to go ahead and work it out. When I have this here, if I have 3/5 plus, that's the same as 2 over 1. When you're adding fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So the common denominator for these two fractions would be 5. So keep this one. And then 1 times 5 is 5. You have to multiply the numerator by 5 as well. So 3 plus 10, that gives me 13/5. So when I have 3/5 plus 2, that equals 13/5. This one, the directions are the same. It's just that we're not given the slope on this one. It says find the equation of the line passing through the given points. So in order to use the point slope formula, we have to have the point and a slope. So since we have 2 points and we don't have the slope, we need to find the slope. So we can use the slope formula, which is y minus y1 over x minus x sub 1. So I've got -5 minus a -4, which is also going to be +4, and a -2 minus a -3. So a -5 plus 4 is -1, and a -2 plus 3 is 1. So -1 divided by 1 is 1. So I have our slope is 1. A slope of 1, and we can use either point. I'm just going to go ahead and use the first one. Okay, actually my slope is -1. Geez. -1 divided by 1 is -1. Okay, so I'm going to use the slope of -1 and the point -3, -4. So I'm going to have y minus a -4 is going to be y plus 4 equals the slope is -1. And then x minus a -3 will be +3. So y plus 4 equals a negative, I'll leave it as -1x and -3. And then we'll subtract 4. So y equals, this -1x I'm just going to leave as -x. Hawks doesn't like it. If you, Hawks doesn't like it if you have a 1 in front of the variable. And then a -3 minus 4 is -7. So the important thing on these is just that you have a point and the slope. And then you plug it into the equation. There's also a few on here where they ask you where they talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. And so I'll just give a quick overview. Parallel lines are lines that never intersect. So they're going to run the same direction, but they never intersect. They do have the same slope. And that's important to know. So any lines that are parallel are going to have the same slope. Perpendicular lines do intersect. They intersect at a 90-degree angle. So if I have this line and then a line that intersects it, it might look like this. And what we know about their slopes is their slopes are negative reciprocals. And negative reciprocals are going to have the opposite sign, and if it's a fraction, we're going to flip it over. So if I have the slope of one line is 3/4, then the negative reciprocal is going to be negative 4/3. If I have a slope of 2, that's the same as 2/1, and so the negative reciprocal would be a negative 1/2. Okay, well, I've got this stuck now. So I can't go to a new page. I'm not really sure why. Okay, well, I got it to go to the next page. We'll see if it'll work again. Determine whether the pair of lines is parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So in order to determine if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, we need to compare their slopes. So the first thing that I'm going to do to each of these is rewrite them in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to solve for y. Y equals a negative 1/4 x plus 6. And that's all I need to do for that one. I know that the slope of this line is negative 1/4. And for this one, I've got 8y equals 2x plus 5 divided by 8. So y equals 2/8 x plus 5/8. So the slope for this one is 2/8, which we could reduce. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I have, for this one, m equals a negative 1/4, and this is m equals 1/4. They are negative, opposite signs, but they're not negative reciprocals. So for this one, it would be neither. If they had the same slope of 1/4, then they would be parallel. And if this were flipped over and this was a positive 4, then they would be perpendicular.